Coach, I guess your initial reactions when you saw your name pop up on the screen there on CBS Selection Sunday show.
First of all, it's a privilege, John, just to have a chance to be in the NCAA tournament, and the anticipation from after we won the conference championship last night to this morning. It's like waiting for Christmas, when you're a little kid and open up the presents. Then I saw the draw, and back to reality, because Coach Altman's phenomenal. Like he's a Hall of Famer, and I've watched him a few times this year. Nate Biddle, one of my favorite players, versatile big. TJ Bamba is one of the best forwards in the country, and then they got a miniature Peyton Pritchard in Shellstad. Henry Barrera and Peyton were really close, so Henry reminded me of how good Shellstad was long ago. So they have some other ones. So we'll have our work cut out for us, but it's the NCAA tournament, and you can expect nothing less.
It hasn't been much, long since you guys have won that game last time. What's the night of winning a conference championship like, having that anticipation of watching this bid? Do you look at the brackets? Do you look at matchups? Do you look at anything? Do you just enjoy the moment? What is the night of winning the conference championship?
Yeah, Bryson, I'd be disingenuous if I told you I didn't check out a few of the bracketologists to see what they were predicting. And funny as it is, a few of them had us versus Oregon in Seattle, and I think one had Ole Miss. But that's what my wife was hoping for, because obviously she's from Seattle. I went to college there, and my thought was, Seattle would be great, but I'm not sure I want to jump on that flight, and especially playing against the Ducks, because Eugene to Seattle is it's a bus ride.
Second trip to Seattle this year for you. The team's been up there. They've experienced this. Is that helpful at all?
We've been all over the country this year, so I think they'll just be excited to play in the NCAA tournament. I don't think it has any bearing, Nick, on advantage, disadvantage. We expected we were going to go somewhere, and for it to be the furthest city that we could have gone to in the tournament is par for the course, but it's all good.
Your previous trips to the tournament with Liberty, was a little different. You had the conference championship game like a week prior to Selection Sunday. How does that change things, and how do these next few days look for you?
When you qualify early, there's the media barrage, because they want to talk to you about making the tournament and being a Cinderella. You get a lot less attention, and at least thus far, and I'm sure there'll be some noise about it in the coming days. But I think one of the positives is, although you get a little extra rest, you don't interrupt the rhythm you're in, and I think our guys are playing well together right now on both ends. Are there areas we can improve upon? Absolutely, and we'll need to if we're going to have a competitive game against the Ducks.
Coach, does now NCAA tournament, obviously, does that change anything regarding practice, or are you just going to keep things running on the same way you've been practicing the whole year?
Yeah, we are who we are. We'll have practice tomorrow, and it'll be a brief one, and we'll go a little bit longer on Tuesday with our install, and I think we'll probably have to be out there Wednesday just to get used to the time change and all that. So it's business as usual for us, and fortunately our guys like coming to practice, so that's a good thing.
Coach, obviously both the men and women team for Liberty is going dancing.
Yeah.
What does that say to the programs here at this school?
I think our athletic department and our administration, Dr. Costin, and all of our upper administration, they have a deep commitment to athletics, but it's balanced. It's not. It's something that I feel like they provide an opportunity in terms of resource, prayer support, and their physical presence, as well as I think having us make the move to Conference USA, which I think has been a beneficial thing for our department. So I just think that support allows all the teams here to have an opportunity for success. And there's some tremendous coaches on our campus. And it's funny because you feel like, man, I want to stay out of the lane of comparison, because there's some legends that are here, and just happy to be a part of it.
You touched a little bit on going back to Seattle, all the connections you have there. Is that going to mean a lot for you when you get out there? You're going to think about that on the way. What's it going to be like to play on the biggest stage of your sport in a city that you have so many connections to?
I love Seattle. It's where I went to college and met my wife. So and we have family there still, so that would be fun and it'll be enjoyable. But you guys, you work all year for this, so like, I'm happy that I'm going to get to see them, but like I'm more excited about the opportunity to compete in what I think is the greatest sporting event in the world. Just to have an inclusion in that I think it's an honor.
It had been a few years now since not too far removed, but just far enough that where I don't think anyone on this roster has been. How thrilled are you to be able to take this group to the tournament?
Yeah, well, Nick, again, great question. I think it's really hard to get to the NCAA tournament, and the fact that we qualified or we're in 3 consecutive tournaments, I think it might have promoted a little bit of like entitlement. And you know, the 3 teams prior to this one that didn't make it, they were still special teams. The coach, really unbelievable dudes. One of those teams made it to the NIT, which is hard to do. So I think we'll relish in this because there isn't anyone on our roster that has been to the NCAA tournament in a Liberty jersey. Josh Smith went for Stetson and Xander Yates went for Creighton, but none of the guys that we currently have. So I think those dudes, they all committed, or most of them committed, hoping that they could continue on what some of the teams have done in the past. So to have accomplished that, I think is a neat thing. But I know the moment will quickly shift to the game in hand.
I guess a follow-up to that, having a guy like Javon Mofford that, albeit at a level below, has played in the NCAA tournament, has had success there, has been in these kind of, not these kind of environments, but in terms of win or go home, you know what I mean? Like, does that help having some of that experience there too?
Yeah, Javon's played in a couple of tournaments. I know there's a National Christian College tournament too. I think they won it. And Talon actually went to the NCAA tournament his last year at Arkansas State. So, but those guys are mature. Now whether they had played in that or not, I think it's a little different. Division I, Division II, because the stage is so big. There's so much attention on the Division I tournament. So, but those guys have been consistent for us all year long. Like, not in terms of hey, their numbers or production, but their countenance. They've really been special that way, and are quiet leaders for us. And I think our guys have drawn on their foundation of security in themselves.
You touched on the quick turnaround as far as timing from last night to now. What about the emotions, yourself and the team specifically? Going from that joy and euphoria from last night that you experienced, and even into today, to now focusing on the task at hand.
Yeah, well, we had some practice, John. You were there. Like, the game against Kennesaw was a phenomenal college basketball game, and they're a worthy opponent. A rivalry has been created because we have a lot of respect for them. And the joy and the adulation of coming back and winning that game after trailing for 36 minutes, and a quick turn to play against a Jacksonville State team that, handled us at their place. So I think, and I said this to them in the locker room before coming down here, like, man, enjoy this because it's a real privilege to be in it. And tomorrow we'll get back to business and preparation.
I guess my last question would be, when you've been to the tournament before, coaches talk about they want to get back because they, learn something or they figure something out that they want to do a second time that they go. Now that you've been a few times, you have that experience. You're getting back this time. What's something that maybe you've learned from your first few trips there? Maybe it's just simple as timing or something about the games. What's something you learned and feel like you can?
Yeah, Bryson, they're all different. Thank you for the question. They're all different. Again, I think the NCAA tournament, not unlike what we said about Conference USA, it's really about your matchup. And having been at Virginia, and I can just tell you there's such a distinct difference between the first and second rounds and the Sweet 16. And you have to be really good to win 2 games in the NCAA tournament. So I think the thing that I'll do the most is, number one, enjoy the qualification, because I think that's, again, extremely hard to do. But have an anticipation of being able to just give our very best and let the outcomes fall where they may. And if we're fortunate enough to advance, unlike the Mississippi State game where we won, and I get such a quick turn and they're prepping for Virginia Tech, I think our guys will have the ability and the maturity, like, okay, what's next if we're fortunate enough to advance?
Talking about all about the matchups. I know you're a college basketball junkie. You watch a lot of it. when you see Oregon, you mentioned some of the players, what's the first thing that kind of jumps out as far as not keys to the game, but just matchups here in this one?
Coach Altman is he's a Hall of Famer. I'm telling you, he's tremendous. Unbelievable job at Creighton. Followed his program, his career. You know, they will make it hard for you. They'll try and take away what you do best. They'll change defenses. They've got an offensive system that they'll exploit maybe what they think is your weakest link. And yeah, we'll have to be really prepared, and we'll have to stay in our identity. Like we are who we are, Nick. And I think I love being a part of this group and a part of our room just because of the character and the selflessness that those dudes exude. But we're going to be Liberty, and we'll let Oregon be Oregon, and a ton of respect for them, and we'll prep the right way. But I'm not in our league, and I'm not sure I can give you any more than that.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Oh.